Welcome to the deep dive. Um, we uh we do these deep dives where we like take a whole stack of stuff that like we think might be interesting to you,
Oh,
and pull out the really like the
little
coolest
short
bits.
stuff.
Yeah, the nuggets.
Those would be hmm.
So today we're going to be deep diving into Jonathan Livingston Seagull by Richard Bach,
Buckle up.
and I don't know how familiar you are with this, but it's a story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a story, but it's got some really interesting like philosophical kind of ideas woven into it.
Mm-hmm.
And actually it also has these beautiful photographs by Russell Munson.
Amazing photography.
Yeah, so we're going to be kind of looking at both of those things as we chart the flight path of one very unique seagull.
Absolutely. And I think what strikes you immediately when you open up Bach's work is that he paints this really stark contrast right from the beginning.
Yeah, so like picture this, right? It's a brand new morning. Sun's hitting the water. There's a fishing boat out there, kind of kicking up all sorts of like delicious snacks for seagulls. And you've got the breakfast flock right on in a frenzy, just complete chaos.
Just normal seagull stuff.
Yeah, every bird for themselves diving, squawking over these scraps.
Just that classic image of seagull community focused on the necessities.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got Jonathan Livingston Seagull, and he's off on his own, 100
Oh.
feet in the air, and he is totally absorbed in something completely different.
Doesn't care about breakfast.
No, he is attempting this really, like, it's described as a painful, hard-twisting curve with his wings. He's trying to fly slower than a gull should, and he keeps messing up. Like, he stalls, he falls, and then Bach just throws this line in there. He says, seagulls, never falter, never stall.
Oh, so right away you're like, wait a second, this is different. This is not a normal seagull.
Yeah, like already Jonathan is like breaking the rules of what a seagull is supposed to be.
He's defying seagull nature.
Yeah, and this really sets up, I think, like the central conflict of the whole thing
Yeah.
here for Jonathan. Life isn't just about getting the next meal.
He's not just living to eat.
Yeah, he's consumed by flight itself, and really pushing the boundaries of like what is possible in the air.
It's that classic thing, isn't it? That conflict between like individual exploration and the group, the collective, like trying to get you to conform.
Yeah, exactly. And his parents, bless their hearts, they don't get it.
Typical parents.
Right. They're worried sick by his, like these solo low altitude glides and these kind of odd landings he keeps trying.
They just want him to be normal.
Right. His
Yeah.
mom actually, she really lets him have it.
It's like, you need to get in line.
Yeah.
She is speaking for the flock.
Yeah.
Totally.
She says, "Why, John? Why? Why is it so hard to be like the rest of the flock? Why can't you leave low flying to the pelicans, the albatross? Why don't you eat, son, your bone and feathers?"
It's tough love.
It is tough love. You can just hear the exasperation in her voice.
Yeah, she's like articulating the flock's worldview. It's like very survival centric. Anything that doesn't contribute to eating is just like a dangerous distraction.
Yeah. And Jonathan's reply is so interesting because it just cuts right to the heart of it.
Mm-hmm.
He says, "I don't mind being bone and feathers, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to know what I can do in the air and what I can't. That's all I just want to know."
He's curious.
Yes. And he's driven by that curiosity.
It's like a thirst for understanding and like mastery.
Yeah.
Pushing his own limits. That's what's motivating him.
Totally. Not instinct.
No.
It's something else. And his dad, like I said, he takes a more practical tack.
Yeah.
He's focused on winter coming. And he says, winter isn't far away. Boats will be few and the surface fish will be swimming deep. If you must study, then study food and how to get this flying business is all very well, but you can't eat a glide.
Yeah.
Don't you forget that the reason you fly is to eat.
Dad's bringing the real world into it.
Exactly. And it's so funny because it's like these two opposite philosophies, right? For the flock, flying is just a way to get food.
A means to an end.
Yeah. But for Jonathan, flight is the thing in itself. It's the goal.
The pursuit.
And you know what? He actually does try to conform for a little bit.
Oh, he does.
He tries to fit in.
Yeah.
He joins the frenzy. He's screeching. He's battling for scraps,
Trying to be one of the guys.
Yeah. But it's just so clearly not him.
Yeah. I bet he can't keep that up for long.
Nope. Before you know it, he's back to his solitary practice, but this time he's fixated on speed.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so he's experimenting. He's diving from 1,000 feet. He's flapping as hard as he can, hits 70 miles an hour. What happens?
Oh, he probably wipes down.
Loses control every time, again and again and again.
But that's the thing, right? That pattern of failure is so important.
Yeah.
Because his breakthroughs don't come easy. They come from like persistent effort and learning from those setbacks.
Yeah, and then he has a breakthrough.
About time.
Right? He figures out that the key to like speed and control in a dive is to hold your wings perfectly still.
Ah, interesting.
So he climbs to 2,000 feet, folds, his wings plummet straight down, reaches 90 miles an hour.
That's incredible.
It's right. It's like shattering what everyone thinks a seagull can do.
Yeah, it's not just about going fast. It's like he's discovering a fundamental principle.
Yeah, and apparently this is a world record speed for a seagull.
So he's got that going for him.
But, it's fleeting because the moment he tries to pull out of the dive,
Oh, no.
he loses control, slams into the sea at 90 miles an hour.
So it's like a reminder, right? Like pushing boundaries is great, but there's always a risk.
Yeah, even when you think you've got it figured out.
Exactly.
So there he is. Soaking wet wings are a mess, completely dejected.
Oh, poor Jonathan.
And that's when he starts hearing this strange, hollow voice inside his head.
Like the voice of doubt.
Yeah, like the voice of all those limitations,
Like the flock is getting to him.
Yeah, and it's whispering to him,
Yeah.
There's no way around it. I am a seagull. I'm limited by my nature. Like he's ready to give up.
He's at his lowest point.
Yeah. And he makes this vow, I'm done. I'm going back to the flock. I'm just going to be a normal gull. And for a second, he feels this like sense of relief.
Like maybe he can just give it all up.
Yeah. And then he sees the beauty of night flying
Trouble.
and he can't resist.
He can't fight who he is.
He can't. And he hears these warnings, like seagulls never fly in the dark. All these rules echoing in his head.
But the pull of his passion is too strong.
It is.
It's stronger than the fear and the disapproval.
And that's when he has this other crucial realization.
Another one.
He figures out that short wings, like specifically folding his forewings and using just the narrow tips, are the key to controlled high-speed dives.
So he's like refining his technique.
Yeah, so he climbs, again, tries this new technique and hits 140 miles an hour completely in control.
Wow. He's a natural.
It's amazing, right? And now he's not just breaking records, he's like understanding the physics of flight.
Yeah, like no other goal has.
And what's so cool is you see this internal struggle.
Mm-hmm.
He feels guilty that he broke his promise to conform.
Of course.
But that guilt is so quickly overshadowed by this like surge of exhilaration,
He just loves it.
He does it. He loves it. And he's more committed than ever to pushing those limits.
Like personal excellence is winning over
Yeah.
conformity.
And he keeps practicing. He reaches terminal velocity at 214 miles per hour, pulls out smoothly, and discovers he can make these incredible sweeping curves at that speed.
I mean, this is like a whole new level.
It is. And he starts unlocking all these aerobatic maneuvers,
It's
loops, slow rolls, point rolls, invert spins the gull, bunt the pinwheel.
It's like he's an acrobat of the sky.
He's exhausted, but he's buzzing with excitement.
Mhm.
He is desperate to share these breakthroughs with the flock.
He's got to tell somebody.
He thinks they're going to be ecstatic, at the prospect of life, beyond just that drab slogging forth and back to the fishing boats.
That's all they know.
He thinks how much more there is now to living. Instead of our drab slogging forth and back to the fishing boats, there's a reason to life. We can lift ourselves out of ignorance. We can find ourselves as creatures of excellence and intelligence and skill. We can be free. We can learn to fly.
That's beautiful.
It is, right? It's this like transformative vision.
Yeah.
But spoiler alert,
Yeah.
the flock is not ready for this.
Probably not.
He returns to the beach at night,
Yeah.
ready to share his discoveries. And immediately he's summoned to the council gathering.
Oh, that sounds ominous.
Yeah, and at first it seems like a great honor. The elder proclaims, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, stand to center.
Like he's about to get an award.
Yeah, and then it changes so quickly.
Here it comes.
Stand to center for shame in the sight of your fellow gulls.
The flock does not like being challenged.
They do not. He is publicly shamed for his reckless irresponsibility and violating the dignity and tradition of the gull family.
The poor guy.
And the punishment is banishment, solitary life on the far cliffs.
Just for trying to be different.
I know, and the elder's words are really something else.
I bet.
He says, one day, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, you shall learn that irresponsibility does not pay life, is the unknown and the unknowable, except that we are put into this world to eat, to stay alive as long as we possibly can.
Wow, that's like their whole philosophy right there.
It is, yeah.
Like just survive, and that's it.
Yeah, and Jonathan's response is so impassioned, he cries out, irresponsibility, my brothers! He cries, who is more responsible than a gull who finds and follows a meaning, a higher purpose for life? For 1,000 years we have scrabbled after fish heads, but now we have a reason to live, to learn, to discover, to be free. Give me one chance. Let me show you what I found.
He's like begging them
He is.
to just open their eyes.
And it's just heartbreaking because they solemnly close their ears, they turn their backs on
Or
it.
like, we don't want to hear it.
It's like the ultimate rejection.
Yeah.
So Jonathan spends the rest of his earthly days in exile, alone on the far cliffs.
But that's not the end of the story, is it?
It's not. And actually, it's kind of interesting because it's like the story shifts into this more metaphorical realm.
Ooh. I like where this is going.
Yeah, so part 2, Jonathan finds himself in this new existence, and he thinks it must be heaven.
Makes sense.
He has this incredible enhanced body. He can fly with this effortless grace.
So, like, his dedication to his passion has elevated him somehow.
Yeah, and he's surprised because even in this seemingly perfect place, he finds that there's like a limit to his speed.
There's always another level.
Yeah, and he meets other gulls. They're gulls who share his deep love for flight and are also practicing these advanced aerial maneuvers.
So he found his people.
Yeah.
He did.
Like his tribe.
Yeah, and he meets his instructor, Sullivan.
Oh, cool.
And Sullivan shares this idea that the purpose of living is to find that perfection and show it forth.
So it's not just about achieving it, you have to like share it.
Yeah, and Sullivan also introduces this concept of multiple lives, like each one offering opportunities for further learning and growth.
Ah, so it's like this continuous journey.
It's not just like one life and you're done.
And Jonathan undergoes intense training with Sullivan mastering formations like point rolls and outside loops. And then he meets the elder gull Chang.
Another wise mentor.
Yeah, and Chang teaches him that heaven is not a place and it is not a time. Heaven is being perfect.
So like it's a state of being, not a destination.
Exactly.
I like that.
And to achieve this perfect speed, Chang tells Jonathan he has to begin by knowing that you have already arrived.
Oh, that's deep.
Right. And then to demonstrate, he vanishes and reappears instantly.
No way.
It's like transcending the limits of space and time.
That's pretty trippy.
Yeah, and his final words before he vanishes are, keep working on love.
Love is the answer.
It is.
Always.
But Jonathan can't shake his memories of the flock back on Earth, and he feels this pull to return and share what he's learned.
Oh, that's noble of him.
It is, and Sullivan doubts that it's a good idea. He quotes the proverb, the gull sees farthest who flies highest,
Meaning like they won't understand him?
Yeah, they're not ready.
Yeah.
But Jonathan, he's determined. He thinks there must be other outcasts, other gulls on Earth who are yearning for something more.
Maybe there are.
So that leads us to part 3.
Okay.
Jonathan is now a teacher himself. He has 6 outcast students, including one named Fletcher Gull.
Passing on the knowledge.
Yeah. And Fletcher is described as almost like a perfect student, incredibly driven, but he's struggling with a 16-point vertical slow roll.
Even the best students have their struggles.
Yeah, and Jonathan is patient and encouraging. He keeps telling him it's about smoothness and control, and he shares this fundamental belief that each of us is, in truth, an idea of the great gull, an unlimited idea of freedom.
So he's teaching them that they're not limited.
Yeah, he's teaching them that the physical body is just thought itself.
Whoa, that's a heady concept.
It is.
Like our limits are all in our minds.
Yeah, and after a month, Jonathan decides it's time to return to the flock with his students, even though it's against the law for outcasts to return.
That's risky.
It is, and Fletcher is terrified.
Can you blame him?
No, and their arrival is a spectacle. They fly in this tight formation, executing loops and rolls, and the flock is stunned into silence.
Showing off their skills.
Yeah, and it's like this visual demonstration of what's possible, when you break free from those conventional limitations.
Like, look what we can do.
But the elder, he recovers quickly, and he orders the flock to ignore the outcasts.
Trying to maintain control.
Yeah, but it doesn't entirely work, because other gulls, drawn by what they've seen, start joining Jonathan's group.
Curiosity is a powerful thing.
It is. And then there's this gull, Kirk Maynard gull, who appears to be crippled. And Jonathan works with him, shows him the same principles, and incredibly, Kirk Maynard gull learns to fly again.
Like a miracle.
And this creates a huge stir among the flock.
Of course, like he was crippled and now he can fly.
So Jonathan addresses the growing crowd, and he reiterates his core message that freedom is the very essence of a gull's being, and any law that restricts that freedom is invalid.
Preach.
He says, the only true law is that which leads to freedom. There is no other.
I love that.
And he emphasizes that the only real difference between him and the other gulls is their willingness to understand and practice true flying.
It's all about mindset.
It is. And Fletcher, he asks if Jonathan is the son of the great gull. And Jonathan is like, no, no, no.
He doesn't want to be put on a pedestal.
No, he's just ahead of his time, is
Right.
all he's saying.
Yeah.
Like this level of understanding and skill, it's available to anyone who's willing to seek it.
Yeah, it's about progress,
Yeah.
not being special.
And then things get really tense because Fletcher has this near fatal collision.
Oh, no.
And Jonathan appears to him, and he reminds him that overcoming limitations is about shifting his level of consciousness.
The power of the minds.
Yeah. And Jonathan chooses to return to the flock with Fletcher, who's now seen as having returned from the dead,
Wow.
leading to fear and accusations of Jonathan being a devil.
They're scared of what they don't understand.
Totally. And the story concludes with Jonathan continuing to mentor Fletcher, emphasizing the importance of forgiveness and understanding as the keys to helping the flock see their own limitless potential for flight.
It's beautiful.
It is. And the core idea is that the only real limitations are the ones we impose on ourselves.
So it's a story about a seagull, but it's really about so much more than that.
Yeah, it's about the human spirit, the drive for self-improvement, the courage to defy convention, and inspiring others to break free from their own limitations.
Inspiring.
So I guess as you've listened to Jonathan's journey, think about this. What are the laws of the flock that might be holding you back?
Good question.
What limitations are you accepting without question?
What are you capable of?
Yeah, what heights could you reach if you dared to believe in your own unlimited potential?
I don't know. That's something to think about.
It is.